Hey guys, Lord Naren White here, the Holy Ghost, the one true God. Back with you with the next video in my series reading Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. Without further ado, returning to Oliver Twist as read by Lord Naren White. First and foremost, Faggy, said the housebreaker. How's Bill? What? Screamed the Jew, starting from his seat. Why, you don't mean to say, began Toby, turning pale. Mean? Cried the Jew, stamping furiously on the ground. Where are they? Sykes and the boy, where are they? Where have they been? Where are they hiding? Why have they not been here? The crack failed, said Toby faintly. I know it, replied the Jew, tearing a newspaper from his pocket and pointing to it. What more? They fired and hit the boy. We cut over the fields at the back, with him between us, straight as the crow flies, through hedge and ditch. They gave chase. Damn! The whole country was awake and the dogs upon us. The boy? Bill had him on his back and scudded like the wind. We stopped to take him between us, his head hung down, and he was cold. They were close upon our heels, every man for himself and each from the gallows. We parted company and left the youngster lying in a ditch, alive or dead. That's all I know about him. The Jew stopped to hear no more, but uttering a loud yell and twining his hands in his hair, rushed from the room and from the house. Chapter 26, in which a mysterious character appears upon the scene, and many things inseparable from this history are done and performed. The old man had gained the street corner before he began to recover the effect of Toby Crackett's intelligence. He had relaxed nothing of his unusual speed, but was still pressing onward in the same wild and disordered manner, when the sudden dashing past of a carriage and a boisterous cry from the foot passengers, who saw his danger, drove him back upon the pavement. Avoiding as much as was possible all the main streets and skulking only through the by-ways and alleys, he at length emerged on Snow Hill. Here he walked even faster than before, nor did he linger until he had again turned into a court, when, as if conscious that he was now in his proper element, he fell into his usual shuffling pace, and seemed to breathe more freely. Near to the spot on which Snow Hill and Holborn Hill meet, opens up upon the right hand as you come out of the city, a narrow and dismal alley, leading to Saffron Hill. In its filthy shops are exposed for sale huge bunches of second-hand silk handkerchiefs, of all sizes and patterns, for here reside the traders who purchase them from pickpockets. Hundreds of these handkerchiefs hang dangling from pegs outside the windows, or flaunting from the doorposts and the shelves within are piled with them. Confined as the limits of Field Lane are, it has its barber, its coffee shop, its beer shop, and its fiendish warehouse. It is a commercial colony of itself, the emporium of pretty larceny, visited at early morning, and setting in of dusk by silent merchants, who had traffic in dark back parlors, who go as strangely as they come. Here the clothesman, the shoe vamper, and the rag merchant display their goods as signboards to the petty thief. Here stores of old iron and bones, and heaps of mildewy fragments of woolen stuff and linen rust and rot in the grimy cellars. It was into this place that the Jew turned. He was well known to the sallow denizens of the lane, for such of them as were on the look-out to buy or sell nodded familiarly as he passed along. He replied their salutations in the same way, but bestowed no closer recognition until he reached the further end of the alley, when he stopped to address a salesman of small stature, who had squeezed as much of his person into a child's chair as the chair would hold, and was smoking a pipe at his warehouse door. "Why, the sight of you, Mr. Fagin, would cure the ophthalmy," said the respectable trader. In acknowledgment of the Jew's inquiry after his health. "The neighborhood was a little too hot, lively," said Fagin, elevating his eyebrows and crossing his hands upon his shoulders. "Well, I've heard that complaint of it once or twice before," replied the trader, "but it soon cools down again. Don't you find it so?" Fagin nodded in the affirmative, pointing in the direction of Saffron Hill. He inquired whether anyone was up yonder tonight. "At the Cripples?" inquired the man. The Jew nodded. "Let me see," pursued the merchant, reflecting. "Yes, there's some half-dozen of 'em gone in, that I knows. I don't think your friend's there." "Sykes is not, I suppose?" inquired the Jew, with a disappointed countenance. "Non istventus, as the lawyers say," replied the little man, shaking his head and looking amazingly sly. "Have you got anything in my line tonight?" "Nothing tonight," said the Jew, turning away. "Are you going up to the Cripples, Fagin?" cried the little man, calling after him. "Stop! I don't mind if I have a drop there with you." But, as the Jew, looking back, waved his hand to intimate that he preferred being alone, and, moreover, as the little man could not very easily disengage himself from the chair, the sign of the Cripples was, for a time, bereft of the advantage of Mr. Lively's presence. By the time he had got upon his legs, the Jew had disappeared. So, Mr. Lively, after ineffectually standing on tiptoe, in the hope of catching sight of him, again forced himself into the little chair, and exchanging a shake of the head with a lady in the opposite shop, in which doubt and mistrust was plainly mingled, resumed his pipe with a grave demeanor. The Three Cripples, or rather the Cripples, which was the sign by which the establishment was familiarly known to its patrons, was the public house in which Mr. Sykes and his dog have already figured. Merely making a sign to a man at the bar, Fagin walked straight upstairs, and opening the door of a room and softly insinuating himself into the chamber, looked anxiously about, shading his eyes with his hand, as if in search of some particular person. The room was illuminated by 2 gaslights, the glare of which was prevented by the barred shutters, and closely drawn curtains of faded red from being visible outside. The ceiling was blackened, to prevent its color from being injured by the flaring of the lamps, and the place was so full of dense tobacco smoke that at first it was scarcely possible to discern anything more. By degrees, however, as some of it cleared away through the open door, an assemblage of heads, as confused as the noises that greeted the ear, might be made out. And as the eye grew more accustomed to the scene, the spectator gradually became aware of the presence of a numerous company, male and female, crowded round a long table, at the upper end of which sat a chairman with a hammer of office in his hand, while a professional gentleman with a bluish nose and his face tied up for the benefit of a toothache presided at a jingling piano in a remote corner. As Fagin stepped softly in, the professional gentleman, running over the keys by way of prelude, occasioned a general cry of order for a song, which having subsided, a young lady proceeded to entertain the company with a ballad in 4 verses, between each of which the accompanist played the melody all through as loud as he could. When this was over, the chairman gave a sentiment, after which the professional gentleman on the chairman's right and left volunteered a duet and sang it with great applause. And we'll go ahead and stop there for this week. As usual, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as it greatly helps the channel. Light be with you all. Take care and thanks again.